production of Broad and High is funded in part by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, supporting arts, advancing culture, and connecting the community to artists, events, and classes at columbusmakesart.com.
And PNC, committed to Central Ohio, for the achiever in you.
This time on Broad and High. Explore one of the nation's largest collections of black art right here in Columbus.
I think we set the standard. Many times when you go into culture centers, you see reproductions, you see posters. When you go into our culture center, you see authentic pieces of artwork done by some of the most talented artists that the nation has to offer.
And we're celebrating 10 years of Highball Halloween. This and more right now on Broad and High. Hey everyone, I'm Kate Quickle and welcome to Broad and High. The OSU Hale Center has what is considered one of the nation's largest collections of black art made by African and African American artists. With work by local luminaries such as Smokey Brown, Kojo Kamau, and Amina Robinson, the collection provides an unparalleled look at the black experience. For the first time, hundreds of pieces from the archive are on view at several venues throughout the city, providing a rare look at this extraordinary collection of art.
Art is culture, any way that you actually look at it. And when Dr. Hale was working to establish the Black Culture Center on the campus of Ohio State, he knew the value of what art is. He knew the value of what culture actually is. When you came into a Black Culture Center, he wanted to make sure that you saw a history and a history through the art. He understood that African and African American artists had a hard time showing their artwork at universities, and I'm not just talking about Ohio State, throughout the nation. So he was sensitive toward that one. Dr. Hale made an initiative and said, this is a goal of mine. I want to make sure these artists of color have a place that they can actually exhibit their artwork. We've grown since 1989. And we have one of the largest collections in the entire nation as it relates to black culture centers, or just culture centers within general. We have more than 600 pieces. It has really grown tremendously. I think we set the standard. Many times when you go into culture centers, you see reproductions, you see posters. When you go into our culture center, you see authentic pieces of artwork done by some of the most talented artists that the nation has to offer. Actually, the Association of Black Culture Center, a national organization, certified our collection as one of the top in the entire nation. And the only thing that it's really doing is showcasing how talented African and African American artists truly are. The first piece that I'd like to talk about is King's Life. It was done by Larry Winston Collins. It was the first piece of artwork ever donated to the Frank W. Hale Black Culture Center. Actually, it's a signature piece. All the artwork that we have has a relevance. It's just not there for aesthetic purpose. It serves a purpose. It serves a legacy. It serves what these artists really wanted to leave behind. Now here's the unique thing about Ralph Bell. He was a Cherokee Indian, and he was African American mixed. Okay, he was a quadriplegic. A lot of people did not understand that. Now the thing that makes us so unique about it is when we do tours on that exhibition, little kids will come in and go, I can do that. What makes that so unique? Anybody could do that. And I said, well, that's true. But let me ask you this question. If you didn't use your hands, could you do it? Well, I would use my feet. Well, if you couldn't use your feet, how would you do it? I put the paintbrush in my mouth. Well, if you couldn't put it in your mouth, how would you do it? I don't know. How would you? It just shows the genius of a person like Ralph Bell, who was a quadriplegic, an artist that had a disability that really shined, and his artwork is actually taken off and is in numerous museums. Smokey really helped to cultivate my knowledge when it came to folk art. Now, Smokey had academic training, and a lot of people aren't aware of that. So he was very talented that way, but the only way that he was successful was to do folk art. Now, Smokey was an alcoholic. Okay, he had one eye, and his rehabilitation from alcohol was actually to do art again. So if you look at the pieces over there, you have two pieces called Poison. And he spells out poison, and that's an anti-drug message that he used. Now, here's the very unique thing about Sharon. Sharon was an activist when she was a student. Sharon was very instrumental in helping get in the Black Culture Center at Ohio State University. Now, the thing that people don't know about Sharon is she moved to Washington, D.C. She was actually the official photographer for Bill Clinton when he was president. She's now with the Associated Press as a freelance photographer. And yes, again, as I said, art is culture, but that's what it's really about. Being able to come in there and see the culture that's left behind and the legacy by these artists.
Start at Home, art from the Frank W. Hale Jr. Black Cultural Center collection, is on view through November 4th at multiple locations, including at OSU's Urban Arts Space and the King Arts Complex. Visit uas.osu.edu for details. Dance is a powerful tool that can help bridge generational divides and connect young people to a wealth of cultural knowledge. Here in Columbus, we met a mother and daughter who are sharing their Mexican heritage through traditional folklore dances. Here's more.
Para mí, bailar un folclore es parte de nuestra cultura, de nuestras raíces y parte de nuestra historia. Sí, yo soy de Puerto Escondido, Oaxaca. Está dividido en 7 regiones y cada región tiene su traje típico y su folclore.
My mom told me stories that she wanted to dance when she was little and that she danced a song, a dance, and she was happy while she danced.
When I was younger, it was very rewarding to be on the stage and to be in front of thousands of people, and I used to get so much confidence and energy from that. And most recently, I find it rewarding transferring all that to my students. The sparkle that they have in their eye before they go on the stage and the butterflies they get in their stomach is what I used to have as a kid. And I'm just so excited that I'm able to pass that on to the next generation of students. A sort of experience that's very unique and not very common in Columbus.
Ella ha estado en otras escuelas y en ninguna escuelas le han ofrecido o les han dado la oportunidad de bailar un folclore. Y darle las gracias a mis patiños porque ella ha hecho un excelente trabajo con los niños por su esfuerzo, su dedicación de parte de todos los padres.
This is the hat we had to wear. It's called a sombrero, and then a rebozo. Then if you wanted, you could wear bracelets and gold earrings. The suit, I don't know what it's called, but, and then the skirt and the shoes. We were supposed to bring the braid like that.
En cada folclore, ellos representan una región, un estado y un país. Y es bonito que ellos aprendan de sus raíces y que ellos vayan conociendo cada día con cada baile de su cultura.
As a second generation Mexican American, I think it's important to connect to our cultures, make sure it doesn't get lost. So it's one of the greatest ways to do that and to really educate the greater community about how diverse and unique each part of Latin America is.
It's discovering. We're discovering it. My mom wants me to keep going, dancing, and grow up like Miss Patino.
Cuando la veo bailar me llena de orgullo porque en ella puedo ver que se sigue preservando nuestra cultura, reflejado un poquito de mí, un poquito de mi niñez, un poquito de nuestra gente.
To learn more about Latin American folklore dancing in Columbus and how you can get involved, visit Folklore Hispano's website. They're also on Facebook and Instagram. This year marks the 10th anniversary of the popular Highball costume party that ushers in Halloween week in the Short North Arts District. Here's a look at the past decade of outlandish costumes and uncommon couture.
So Highball is the nation's most elaborate costume party. It's been taking place here in the Short North Arts District for 10 years. So Highball is 2 nights. Friday night is more of a music-focused night. You kind of ease into the Highball weekend. You can come in costume.
Any other girl can't do the things that I do.
Saturday is what we sort of refer to as Highball High Fashion and features really what has grown to become the signature piece of Highball, the Battelle Costume Couture Fashion Show. We typically take between 7 and 8 designers each year, but this year, for the 10th anniversary year, we will have 10 designers. The instructions that our designers are given each year is that they have to create one substantial, over-the-top, couture-style costume. What's been exciting, I think, for us, watching the people that participate in the Battelle Costume Couture Fashion Show, is that some of them are industrial designers, some of them are costume designers, some of them make ready-to-wear clothing. And so doing Highball allows them to flex these creative muscles and kind of try some stuff out that maybe they wouldn't get to do in their day job or in their creative work normally. Well, the best part of Highball is that you can make it onto that main stage if you so try. So we have always had, as part of the event, 2 huge public costume contests. This year, again, because it's the 10th anniversary year, we have 10 categories that the public can compete in each night.
So tonight, welcome to Highball, Saturday night, night 2. This is where all the excitement happens. We have the
So Highball has been incredibly fortunate to have Nina West and members of the West family participate in performing at and emceeing Highball for the last 10 years.
Girl, you look tasty than an onion went chip.
Just as the city keeps growing and getting bigger, Highball will keep growing and getting bigger. It's one of those events that really is so different from every other festival and celebration that we hold here in Columbus, and we have a lot of them. It's something that everybody gets an opportunity to participate in if they want to. It really, really explores the creativity of the people that live here and work here, and it showcases all that we do in the Short North Arts District.
This year's Highball Halloween celebration is October 21st and 22nd on High Street in the Short North, with the runway show capping off the event on Saturday night. Visit highballcolumbus.org to see the full schedule of events. We're going to keep strolling on down Highball Memory Lane. We originally brought you these next segments back in 2014, but they still hold up. Meet some of the fashion designers who've competed in recent years. Then keep watching to go behind the scenes with the beloved Day of the Dead skeleton puppets that make an impressive appearance every year.
So Highball Halloween is a masquerade festival and a celebration of fashion and creativity that results in a fabulous party in the Short North Arts District. You know, it started as a way to celebrate what we do here in the Short North, which is a component of it is fashion retail, a component of it is arts and culture, and a component of it is, you know, just celebrating entrepreneurship here in our community. So Columbus is this, you know, in many ways emerging mecca for fashion design. And what Costume Couture does is allow them to kind of come out of themselves a little bit more.
Is everybody ready?
My name's Kelly Martin and I have a clothing label called Anti-Label.
Hi, I'm Lauren Prim and I'm a technical designer at a clothing company here in Columbus.
Hi, I'm Ira Texan and I am a design assistant and also a production assistant at a local costume manufacturer.
I went into this not really knowing exactly at first what they were going to do. I kind of already had my 4-piece mini collection designed. It's going to be very ragged, a lot of layers, a lot of dark prints. They're really going to look kind of like the victims of the bubonic plague. So it ended up being really cohesive.
I think our narrative for this character is basically she's like the soul collector of like all of the victims, and she starts absorbing parts of them.
My name's Annie Wyrock and my brand is called Rock and Royalty. My design aesthetic is it's a little bit edgy, but it also has a lot of feminine embellishments. The character of my costume is kind of a mixture of steampunk meets The Great Gatsby in the Roaring 20s, and it'll be very glamorous, over the top, and glitzy, and she will be carrying a martini while riding up in the sky in a hot air balloon.
My name is Aaron James, and I am a self-taught designer. I've been designing for about 5 years. My design aesthetic tends to lean toward glamour. Lots of bling and sequins and details. It tends to have a bit of a 70s or 80s flair to it too, a little bit retro. I'm kind of taking inspiration from the Hunger Games type of eccentric, apocalyptic, modern type style, and I am going to kind of fuse it with the concept of Poison Ivy from Batman.
You know, it's really about the fantasy of it. And, you know, some folks think Halloween and they take it to that spookier, darker place. I don't think we had any zombies on the runway this year. We encourage kind of the exploration of, you know, the over-the-top, the fantasy, the exciting kind of couture element of it. So I think folks explored all sides of what that Halloween holiday showcases, which is transforming yourself for a night or a weekend, in the case of Highball, to be creative.
The goal for tonight is to get the puppets up and running, up and moving, and choreograph some fun dance moves for them to do on stage, and also to choreograph some fun interactive moves for them to do with the festival goers at Highball. It's extremely difficult. They're heavy, they're unwieldy, they have lots of motion, they're constantly moving and unpredictable, but that's also the fun part about them. We're learning how to control them and also maximize their movement.
She's not that heavy, she's just awkward. And where my center of gravity is down here, her center is way up there. So I got to support it down here, up there.
Yeah, can we try a couple arm dance moves back and forth? Why don't you guys start improvising?
Like the name of those skeletons, we call them esqueletos, which is skeleton in Spanish, but the slang term for them are calacos. And calacos is a word that is actually a sound of a bag of bones. You know, the bones clacking together, so they're known as calacos, or calacas if it's a female. That's why when you see the Day of the Dead, you really see a large number of skeletons that are dancing around because they're having this amazing festival, and the ancestors are coming back and partying with the people on the Day of the Dead. So it's not something gory or horrific or any of that. It's actually a wonderful celebration of your ancestors. I just really get great pleasure out of building things and making things. A 15-foot tall dancing skeleton, I had to choose aluminum, a very flexible aluminum, because of the way these joints are banging around. And it had to be built that it was going to be tackled by, you know, a bunch of drunk college students. So it had to be built within that reality, that'd be crashed to the ground, all tumbled up, and then be able to jump back up and boogie on down the road, so to speak.
I was working with a group of people who have that kind of human regard for sculptural objects, you know, and say, this sculpture has a life of its own and we're going to respect that and we're going to nurture that.
A couple of inches.
That kind of intuition that everyone had helped us realize the full potential of these sculptures and their kind of human characteristics. They respond so well to your own body's movement. So if you're dancing, they're dancing. And it's like you're dancing with a partner. At the same time, it's also like your movement is being kind of augmented and kind of sent through space. So it's this great experience that I've never gotten to have before. I've never had the experience of dancing with a giant structure like that before.
With the Brazilian Carnival and having seen really just extraordinary, again, festijadas, you know, these incredible festivals, the opportunity to bring some of that here was really I'm just so thankful and grateful to be involved.
It was a powerful experience to realize that 3 people can make a giant sculpture come to life and how much that meant and what a powerful impact that had on the viewers and the people experiencing them. Those are all the things that I am trying to address in my own dance work that has been, for the stage or maybe site-specific or for video. But that's always my goal, is to just open up the lines of communication through the body. Human bodies feel so small compared to these skeletons. When we first walked around the corner, people just swarmed up to the puppets, and this was our very first moment interacting with the public. People seem to feel really welcome to interact with them.
Without her, I just made a sculpture.
Just having the experience in my dance background now changes everything for me.
That is our show. Be sure to check out all of our stories at WOSU.org, and you can check them out on the WOSU Public Media mobile app, so definitely download that. And we want you to follow us on social media. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're taking you out today with music by Damn the Witch Siren. Look for them at Highball on Friday night, where they'll be paying a musical tribute to Madonna. Thanks for watching. Be sure to join us again next week for more great stories on Broad and High.
Larissa Buyivka, corsetry. I think of my work as sweet and salty, a little edge and pop to traditional beautiful elegance. I like the process of ornamentation. The corset is such a wonderful vehicle for embellishment. I found that art is there for you even when people fail, even when your life falls apart. And when everything else is a disaster, you can still find peace and beauty in creation. Columbus sustains my work. It's simple. I can be a thriving artist here. I'm Larissa Buyivka. Corsetry is my art. And there's no place I'd rather make it.
Production of Broad and High is funded in part by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, supporting arts, advancing culture, and connecting the community to artists, events, and classes at columbusmakesart.com.
And PNC, committed to Central Ohio, for the achiever in you.